It's time. Good day, my friends. I hope you're finding this earlier 8 o'clock hour better. I'm kind of enjoying it. I find I have more time and I like it, and I think it works out, and I hope you are preferring this as well. This, of course, is my free application for everything that we do for the public is free. But remember, you won't get that really good stuff, because we've seen that minefield before. One of the worst suggestions is for you to think that, I can say whatever I want. Right. Well, a couple of things. First, as you know, people love to get offended. I was talking to somebody today. Is Good Friday, and for those who is not, if I could say, who, you don't have to say this, is non-Christian, or who has not studied the various iterations of Christianity. Specifically, can you tell me the distinction between Catholic and Protestant? That's the issue. I worked one time with this absolute blowhard, and she was an absolute blowhard. Just blowhard. She's one of the biggest bombasts anybody has ever seen. And we were talking about this. I said, "Well, are you Catholic?" And she says, "Well, I was raised Catholic." I said, "No. Are you Catholic?" "Well, of course." I said, "Great. What does that mean?" I said, "If you were to convert to Catholicism, what would you convert to?" It's easy when you think about whether Judaism or Islam or something. You would think, it's a completely different religious substance. But the issue is, do you have any? How do I say this? What is the word? Do you have any idea of what particularly makes you Catholic? And she looked at me and I said, "Isn't that funny?" And I've seen this all my life. People don't understand what it is. I went to Catholic kindergarten, grade school, high school. And this was in the 60s or 70s. Catechism was so. But the real difference, the real essence can be seen especially today. And during Easter, this is when you have to pay attention. And this is what I try to tell my friends. We went to I remember one time a friend of ours passed away, so we went to his local Catholic church, his parish, and I went there with a friend of mine who's Jewish, and we were talking. And I said, "I want you to notice something." I said, if I brought you into a church, and you have never been in a church before, Christian, and I just said, just look straight ahead, you'll be able to tell if it's Catholic or Protestant immediately. And what is it? And I asked her, so what do you think that is? And that is one of the operational differences, very theological differences. Now, some people got very upset by this, because people always think, maybe it's my delivery, maybe it's the way I speak, maybe it's whatever, but they always tend to be a little bit, they're always on the offensive when I say something. And I said, if you look straight ahead, you can see Christ on the cross. That's a crucifix versus a cross. If Christ were off, it would be Protestant. Why do you think that's different? I said, I noticed something too. I said, if you look left and right, Stations of the Cross. Stations of the Cross are in Catholic churches. Why? The passion, an emphasis on the sacrifice, the crucifixion. Protestant, that's Catholic. Protestants are into the resurrection. Off the cross. The crucifixion is almost like not as important. Look at people just throwing things out. They're just throwing things. They have no. Please do me a favor, and I say this: if you're watching this later, read what people are writing. They have no idea, and they think they know what they're talking about. They're just saying stuff that's just no. It's live streams are like flypaper for I don't know what. They're just making you don't realize, like, what do you think about this? No. Do you really believe what you're saying? No. Why do you say this? Because I just say stuff. Have you ever thought about saying, I don't know? Oh, no. No. It's so interesting. The gravamen, the essence. I would never, ever, ever talk about a religion I knew nothing about. I wouldn't just say it. I just say it. I would say, I don't know. If you really want to understand something, and by the way, remember when you're a kid, you're looking at the Stations of the Cross, up to the steps of the crucifixion. Look at what Jesus did for you. He died for you. What happened later? Don't worry about what happened later. He died for you. Protestant is he's resurrected, born again. If you want to be born again, that is it. If you really want to see this, if you really want to see it, look at Mel Gibson's Passion of the Christ, or it's been called Good Friday the 13th. Okay. If you want to see it, he is a classic Orthodox, like an Orthodox Catholic, hardcore Catholic, but there are different gradations of it. He and his father Hutton took great umbrage at Vatican II. This is Roncalli. This is Pope John the 23rd. This is Roncalli, who removed from the Easter piece the perfidy of the Jew, which has always been considered the essence, one of the initial starting points of anti-Semitism. It's the idea that Jews killed Christ. That's always been Christ killer. This has always been, and it is, and John the 23rd said, we got to get rid of this. There's no. Because they're arguing to this point who is responsible. Now, watch, if you ever see, if you can sit through, and it was worth seeing, because it was very interesting historically, the Passion of the Christ, and you look at the role of Pilate. Pilate is, look at Mel Gibson's depiction of Pilate. Pilate was the governor, if you will, of Rome, Roman governor. Pilate crucified thousands. I mean, it was just this was the guy, not Caiaphas per se, that might have been the perceived. It wasn't that Pilate or whatever did this to satisfy the contingent, the Jewish contingent that wanted him dead. Because how do we say this? And this is the part that people don't understand. There was no distinction yet as to Christianity. This was the beginning, if you will, of Christianity. I know you might say, well, what does this mean? It was Jesus, Yeshua, was Pilate considered a troublemaker, a problem, a revolutionary, upsetting everybody and everything. So when you say that the Jews kill Christ, he wasn't Christ. Jesus, the Christ, is the actual name. So understand how this thing started. So John 23rd said, we got to get rid of this. It was more than that. If anybody who was the actual agent, it's Pilate. And Pilate was sent by Caesar, by the Rome, to basically said, I don't want any problems. It's simple. But that little difference, now, does it make any, no, does it? Does it change the essence of it? No, of course there's differences. Catholic Church doesn't necessarily, not as dependent on the Bible. There's far more emphasis on Mary, the Mother Mary, and Anne, her mother, the saints, the Apostles' Creed. Yeah, there are certain things. And either way, I say to everybody and anybody, please learn, research, accept in your heart whatever faith makes you happy. Spirituality, comes in many, many forms. But religion is a powerful and I think an extremely beautiful aspect. When I hear, and I didn't intend to do this, but I wanted to do this. When I hear people like Christopher Hedges, Sam Harris, Richard Dawkins, Daniel Dennett, that Krauss, what's his name? Lawrence Krauss, who just won't shut up. Just say that religion is the cause of all of this problem. Religion, it's like saying politics is the cause of, yes, more destruction has been done by politics. But wait a minute. What? Do you... Aspirin has killed more people than... Wait a minute, hold it. Aspirin, it's an analgesic, it's an anti-inflammatory. Yes, but it's killed more people. So when you do this, it goes... There's a militant atheism, which I find so problematic. It's a militant atheism, and it confounds my philosophy of life. My philosophy is very, very simple. I start off with the premise that I don't care what you do, as long as it's whatever, it's not probably, it doesn't hurt anybody. This is your sexuality, this is your politics, it's your religion, whatever it is. And please don't say I'm libertarian. Please. Libertarian is like the default. It's like, if you don't know what to say, you're a libertarian. It's so easy. Less government, more personal freedom. Gee, I never thought of that. There's a name to that? I just like to live life without pain. Oh, you're a non-pain party. You got a party for that? Libertarian is no obviousness. But I don't want to get into Murray, whatever. Anyway, I'm getting off track here. But it's important to understand what today and what this is, and also Passover for our Jewish friends, Pesach, and how I love this. And I sit as an observer, as an observant, not a humanist. I don't even know what that means either. But as an observant observer of human, I'm fascinated by this. I'm fascinated by ritual, by custom, by belief. I love this. It fascinates me. How interesting this is. And this has been going on forever. And when I was in Israel twice, but once, if you really want to see something, in Jerusalem, the Via Dolorosa, where Christ walked through the city with the cross, the burial, the tomb of Christ, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where actual cross itself was. You could put your hand to be in the tomb. Now, I'm not passing on anything. I'm just telling you where I went, what they said it was, and what people. There is a feeling, and I want you to understand something. There is a feeling that happens when you are with people and you walk in, and this is one of the, if I don't know, the holiest sites in Christianity in Israel. And you have in this one little church, it's kind of small, but you have every form of, you didn't know the types of Catholic, these bearded, frocked monks, Eastern Rite, Orthodox, Russians and Greeks and Coptics, and we're just used to some guy walking around with a collar at St. Agnes of the Forgotten or whatever it is. This is, it is like, wow. And let me tell you something. As a human being, as a human, I'm picking up stuff from the reaction of people just being there. And they're not saying anything. And I'm feeling, I'll never forget that. Not that I'm feeling the religious connection, but I'm feeling the vibes from, I know it sounds weird, from other people. It was incredible. Incredible. People are just, you can feel it. It's like, holy wow. In all my life, and I'm hearing this, the Catholic school, Gethsemane, and where they did the olives, and we could see this. This is Jesus with tempted or taunted by the devil, and oh my God, this is it. It's fascinating. Fascinating. And it's one of the most interesting things is that the ecumenical appreciation, how Jews and Muslims and Arabs and Christians all get along, and they dig each other. In the souk, in the merchant or the market, they're all Arabs. I remember one guy had a T-shirt. It was only a T-shirt. It was like an I don't know, 1622. It was a silhouette of a jet. And it said, "Don't worry, America, Israel's got your back." And it was an Arab selling this. Another guy sold a T-shirt. I loved it. He said, "I'm in the Mossad. My job's so secret, even I don't know what it is." There's an Arab guy selling me this, and they're Israelis. And people use the term interchangeably, Jew, Israeli. That's why whatever you think about Israel, you can say whatever you want. It's your First Amendment right. Please don't say Israel and Jews. Don't. Because you have to be there. You realize there are there are many ardent Israelis who are not Jewish. Okay, that being said, recognize what today is. Recognize this. Sit back. If you believe, wonderful. But I, as an observer, am fascinated by this. And how I never understood. Growing up, they never explained to me, this is what this is. My parents never told me this. I didn't understand what this was. It was like, you're Christian, you're going to be, I would not have changed the Catholic education I had, but parochial school, because it wasn't Catholic. There were nuns. We didn't really see a priest that often. It was just nuns. The nuns were, to me, the holiest people ever. I was never hit once. Not on the knuckles, not on the back, not a ruler. I never saw anybody hit. Never heard anything about any improper behavior with students. Never heard it. Never. I'm not saying it didn't happen, but I'm saying in my parish where we were, never. I hated uniforms, and now I think back, it's like uniforms. I thought uniforms, I used to think as a kid, this destroys individual spirit. This indoctrinates. Uniform, it makes uniform all, yeah. You didn't know who had money, who whatever, and you kind of lost. It was interesting. It was almost like Marines, you wouldn't change it for the world. We did everything a year before public school. cursive writing, multiplication. We did everything. Nobody ever skipped a grade. You went back, but nobody ever skipped a grade, ever. Oh, is this not hard enough for you? Okay, we'll fix that. And these nuns were just... Now, and I want you to listen to me carefully. I want you to stop writing for just a second. Just listen to me carefully. What I want you to be able to do, if there's one thing that you can say, you know what? I used to watch this guy on YouTube. And I don't remember what he said, but he did teach me this. And it harkens back to F. Scott Fitzgerald about a superior mind and I'm paraphrasing, is able to handle two or more seemingly inconsistent thoughts simultaneously and not lose your mind. You can respect President Trump, dislike what he's doing politically, loathe what he's doing personally, and yet either want or don't want to see him reelected. You can have you respect him, but you don't. Yeah. The Beatles, to me, respect them, understand what they meant historically, never want to hear them. I just don't, it doesn't connect. Beatles. And yet other people I recognize are in love. Rick Beato did a great video where he goes to Abbey Road. Whatever. Now, I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying all these Beatles fans. I respect it. I don't feel that way. I can think four different things, seemingly inconsistent, but they're not. It's not either or. Life is not either or. When I was younger, right around, you don't understand, so I was born in 58, so right around, I was 11, 69, 70, but everybody was like, not just angry, but it was okay to be angry with the government and with the war. And this is when leftist and progressive and liberal meant something, because they were trying to get us out of the war. The Vietnam War was, I don't have to tell you, it was in all the papers. It was horrible. And there was a stodginess in 68, this Daley and, the Chicago police and beating people up. There were problems too with the SDS and everything else. It was a very turbulent time. But the liberals and the progressives they were the good guys. John F. Kennedy or Robert Kennedy, McGovern. And then there was LBJ, who destroyed his entire legacy by virtue of the war, and Richard Nixon came along, who destroyed his legacy by virtue of Watergate. So I learned this. LBJ good in this, bad in that. Nixon good in this, bad in that. I knew this. But I had this stridency when I was a kid. Right around, the teenager. Stridency. I didn't just disagree with people. I got angry with them. That's so stupid. And I had a real antipathy towards people of devout faith, because it just didn't make any sense to me. And instead of me saying what I do now, I was like, oh, okay. That's okay. I didn't think like that. Because everybody I knew, we had to make fun of it. It was the days of when George Carlin came along and Lenny Bruce and that's not the way to be. That's not the way to be. Maintain your stridency. Make whatever you want to call it. Maintain your verve and your absolutist belief, but understand what other people think. Which leads me to today's topic. Donald Trump cannot possibly want to be president again, unless he's lost his mind. Now, I told this to a friend of mine who is a Trump acolyte to the point that, do you remember right before 2020, I told you, I said, Trump's going to lose this because he's doing everything wrong. And you can argue about other factors as well. But I said this. People got very upset with me. Very upset. I said, but I'm talking about the the way the election is running, the way, what he's doing. I'm talking about that. I'm not speaking necessarily. Anyway. People didn't want to hear that. They thought it was personal. How can you say that? No. It's like the pathologist who comes in. I've got bad news for you. The melanoma, stage 4. I like you. I don't want this to be this way. Or to go into a patient you despise and say, it's benign. It's nothing personal. The two have nothing to do with each other. My feeling for you and a lab result have nothing to do. Donald Trump is going on to Tucker. Is it tonight he's going? Yeah, tonight, whatever. And I'm telling you right now, he's going to blow it. He's going to blow it. He's going to waste his time. Let me tell you what he's going to do. He's going to talk about himself. Look what they're doing to me. Look what they're doing to me. Can you believe what they're doing to me? Vote for me, America, because of what they're doing to me. Do you see this? Do you understand this? Do you understand this? Do you understand this? This is the most stupid, and I know he's going to do it because he can't help it. He can't help it. I don't know why. I don't know why. This is what I would say if I were him. Number one, everybody's going to be talking about him. Everybody is going to be talking about it. He's going to be on Fox. He's going to be whatever. He's going to be speaking. And when he's on with Hannity, it's a waste of time. He blew that one. And I wish he would say something. Let me speak for him. Let me see if I can do it my way, my particular way by doing this. Let me see if this is even possible. I wish they would do this. I wish they would say, do you know what this is, Tucker? This is my weathered, of course he's going to say it now, but this is my weathered copy of the Constitution. This, by the way, was given to me by Saul Wachtler. And I also have at the back, these are my I voted stickers. I keep all my I voted stickers from all my elections here. Because this is my Bible. This is it. I don't want to say, I don't want to be sacrilegious, but this is it for me. This is it. It's all we have. It's not perfect, poorly written in some respects, almost disconnected, but this is it. And if you are an American citizen, if you are here, black, white, gay, straight, trans, but this is it. This is the rule. This is it. And I'm going to now speak for President Trump. Because remember, people are watching him now. They're going to say, let me see what this guy has to say. Tucker, I don't have to talk to you about this. Tucker, do you know last year, if he did this, I'm going to pretend it. Do you know that there were 25,000 people who had their cases reversed on appeal or were released from prison, or there were 200, whatever the number, people who were released based upon the great work of Barry Scheck and DNA, innocent people who have been incarcerated. Now, I'm lucky insofar as I've just been charged. But there's something very wrong, Tucker, with our system. There's something very wrong with the fact that we have, in this particular case, a district attorney who decides ahead of time that he's going to downgrade 40% or whatever the particular number is of felonies right off the bat. And Tucker, do you know what the issue is? I'm sure you've heard of critical race theory. Well, prior to critical race theory, the basis of critical race was something called critical legal studies. This was started in the 70s and 80s in various law schools. And what it does is it believes that one of the one of the bases, one of the structures, one of the sources and platforms of inequity and inequality and racism is the criminal justice system and the legal system. And that the way to stop and to reverse this hierarchical misappropriation of power is to review. Anyway, this is not Mr. Bragg. And this is the worst insult. It's his benefactors, his leaders, if you will, and other district attorneys and state attorneys all over the country. It's Soros and these types of functions. And what they believe in is called critical legal studies, CLS, CRT, CLS. And what's interesting, Tucker, and the irony is that if I were to have multiple felony convictions, a terrible criminal record, and I were to go in and steal from a CVS or a Walgreens or a Sephora or a Chanel store, if I were to hurt people, rob people, stab people, kill people, maybe actually in New York City, his jurisdiction, a man defended himself by stabbing an assailant who was robbing him with a gun, or trying to hurt him. But yet when it comes to me, and again, this is not about me, but as an example, they turn everything that they have, all of their power, all of their focus, all of their attention, resources, manpower, women power, they power, against me. Do you think that's ironic? I think so. This is happening in our country like you cannot believe. Tucker, are you aware that, and this is the most important part, and Tucker, you may not have known this. Are you familiar with this, Tucker? Wall Street's Jamie Dimon says to seize the private land for wind and solar builds. JP Morgan Chase CEO says eminent domain powers may be needed to accelerate energy transition projects as window is closing for climate change action. Tucker, let me see if I can explain this to you. As I speak to you now, we're talking about advocates, and I'm going to go so far as to say that these are apparatchiks and these are basically spokespeople for the shadow government. They are actually advocating that private land, and let me ask you this, Tucker, who would have multiple acres to be seized? Poor people? No, not for the most part. Inner city people? No. But people of means. So for those who have thought that the shadow government is only targeting people who are of color, oh, no. This is going to be called a redistribution of wealth. Tucker, this is happening right now. And do you know what also is happening, Tucker? Maybe you're not aware of this. And this is what Trump could be saying. Because he has this moment. He can go through and cite case after case of people and folks who've had individual suggestions that low-income housing, which is a wonderful thing, but placed in the middle of wealthy areas, wealthy neighborhoods. Tucker, do you see what's happening here? And then he goes into perhaps this trans. And Tucker, one of the most important things in the world, and I want you to listen very carefully. Tucker, as you know, I have been one of the many charges, and he's got to tell people, I have 6 separate either investigations, targets, grand juries against me. 6. Most people don't know that. When you tell them this, they say, 6? 6? 6. Wow. Okay. And one of them is that they are suggesting that I had something to do with inciting January 6th or promoting January 6th or fomenting January 6th or whatever it was. Either through, and I'm telling you, be very careful of this, seditious conspiracy, insurrection, rebellion, whatever it is. Tucker, we are seeing right now, and you saw this the other day in the case of my arraignment with Marjorie Taylor Greene and others. By the way, that was ill-conceived, but that's me. You were having people actually going and, through their words, inciting violence. We right now are having, there is a spate of individuals people dressed as, what's the word? People dressed as trans activists or whatever, who may or may not be. We don't really know. I'm not in a position of detailing the legitimacy or the authenticity of certain claims. But we have people who are going out of their way to incite, look the other way, and tacitly wink at what can only be looked at as increased violence. Tucker, during the worst violence that we saw during the George Floyd protests, you had people from CNN actually say that what we were seeing, the destruction of personal property, the destruction of businesses, billions of dollars in lost profits or whatever, all being excused, all being warranted as legitimate protest and the like. All right, stop right there. Do you see what I just did? There's his campaign speech. That's how you do it. They know you were arrested. Or not arrested. Well, I guess you were. They know you're charged. They don't want to hear about Alvin Bragg. And you never, ever, ever bring up his family, never bring up his wife, never bring up his daughter, because you're doing the same thing. Because what's happening right now is, you don't want to realize this, but you are under a scrutiny microscope nobody's ever seen. And you've got to tell that big mouth son of yours, Don Jr., to shut up. Listen to what I'm saying. Tell your son, Don Jr., to shut up. Don't talk about people's families. I know you're going to say, but they talk about mine. Oh, okay, well, I liked, for the most part, people laid off Sasha and Malia Obama. Leave them alone. When they used to go after Amy Carter, leave her alone. Even Chelsea Clinton as a kid. Rush Limbaugh made some jokes. Just leave kids, leave family, just leave. First ladies are different, maybe. You know what I mean? Maybe. Sort of. But don't do this. Don't do this. Especially when you're having people deciding your fate as to January 6th. Now, I want you to answer my question right now. Listen to me carefully. Answer yes or no. Yes is number one. 2 is number no. You know how that works. Does Donald John Trump really want to be reelected? Does he want to go back to Washington, be the second president since Grover Cleveland to hold 2 non-consecutive positions? Do you think he wants to go back? Does Donald Trump want to go back to Washington? Drive up, move all his stuff in, go back to his room. I don't know if Melania is going to be there with him, because remember, Bess Truman told Harry, she said, I'm taking Margaret, I'm getting the hell back. Do you really think he wants to sit there and say, now, I want a new cabinet, I want to pick a vice president, I want to pick a Secretary of Defense, I want to go through all this, I want to go through the confirmation process. Oh, I can't wait, people. Imagine what they're going to go through, my judicial nominees. He doesn't have the Senate, whatever, the House is going to be. Do you really think he wants to sit there and get up from his, go back where he is right now? He's in Mar-a-Lago, playing golf, enjoys making money and doing his thing with his family, and he gets to whatever, and he wants to go back into that prison called the White House and go through that again, where nobody will talk to him, 4 more years of no White House concerts, no, you know how they have these wonderful events where you go to the Kennedy Center and nobody will come to his inauguration, nobody will come, being frozen again, the shadow government baring their teeth saying, Oh, you want more? Now we've saved the best for last, as Vanessa Williams sang. Do you really think so? A voice from the past. Look who's there. I don't want to call out people, but it's good to see people in the past. I respectfully submit to you, for no other reason than just my observation as a social genius and a psychological maven. He wants the acclaim. He wants to run. He wants vindication. He likes being Trump, but there is no way he wants to go through this again. There's no way. Because round two, if he actually can do this, round two, they will crush him. They're waiting. They're just waiting. Okay, now, we're jumping ahead. I don't want him to run. What is he now? What is he, 76? Yeah. 76 years old. He's spry. He's in good shape. He is to see him the other day. By the way, his Joe Tapioca, as my friend calls Joe Tacopina, he's almost unrecognizable. His face, I didn't recognize. Lay off the stuff. You know what I mean? Just please. It doesn't work. I don't know why people do that, but what do I know? But here's the thing. There is this idea which is so stupid, that somehow Trump is, that these kind of on the fence undecideds are going to love Trump because he's been indicted. This is the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. And people say this because they just say it. Here's the one yesterday from a supposed Washington insider. Follow this one. I did everything in my power not to laugh. The Democrats want Biden to be the 2024 nominee. You think that's true? Okay. They want, because they can beat Biden. Now, I don't want to get into what you're thinking. You mean they can beat him fair and square? I know what you're thinking. Let's don't go there. Please. No denial here. Let's just take them at their word. So they believe that by bringing these 6 total charges, this will somehow benefit them. Benefit them to the benefit, how do I say this? This will inure to the benefit of President Trump because of these charges. So because he'll benefit from it, more people will vote for him, and that will ensure that he will be the nominee in 2024. That the GOP is going to, you think the GOP is going to do this? Are you kidding me? You think the GOP? Who is it? Is it Ronna McDaniel? Is she still yeah, chairwoman. The most worthless waste of flesh in the history of GOP chair people. You've got to be kidding me. So they say these things because, as you know, people will say things. They always say, don't peak too early. Well, that sort of makes sense, I guess, maybe. So this is the lunacy right there. I'm telling you, if I were to advise the Democratic Party, number 1, Gavin Newsom. Number 2, he is ready for prime time, and he is a perfect countermeasure to 4 years of Joe Biden. He's younger, but young. Doesn't look too young. Young, vibrant, the family, the wife. He knows how to do. He's part of this California. Remember the D'Alessandro, Brown, Newsom Jerry Brown, D'Alessandro, Pelosi, this California cabal. He's it. He is it. Now, I know what you're thinking. People say, well, he was married to Kimberly Guilfoyle. Don't worry about that. That believe me, they've agreed. Just let it go. That's it. Even Don Jr. knows. Don't bring it up. Okay. I don't know what they did when they were married. Who cares? That's the guy. He can speak to one crowd, give them everything they need to know under the particular parlance of what's going on right now. He can go to the next room, speak to middle of the roaders, and give another version of it. He's very adept, very smart, very, very wise. He's going to Florida a lot. He's letting people know, just get used to the name. Now, is Ron DeSantis? Ron DeSantis is very smart. He's got to work on his style. He's losing weight and he's doing all kinds of stuff. And he may very well be the Republican nominee. There's no problem with that. Let me ask you this question. Yesterday, Bobby Kennedy announced. Now, people say, oh, he's good. And people like Bobby Kennedy, as do I, by virtue of the fact that he is brave and he actually speaks his mind and he's very atypical, which is a wonderful thing to see. Okay, here's my question. I don't know why you would do it. I don't know if you're a Democrat, but if somehow it was, I don't know what this thing. If it was Bobby Kennedy, if he gets, he's not going to get the Democratic nomination, but he's a very important person because he's fascinating. He's a as you would call a lefty. Don't ever think for a moment he's not. He's done some wonderful things ecologically. Remember ecology? We used to say that. The Hudson River Project, a falconer. He has that spasmodic dysphonia, which I think is kind of interesting. He's anybody who just says, okay, I speak like this, but I'm going to keep going. I think Susan Collins has it. It's that voice and it doesn't matter. You know when somebody has something where, like I have a friend of mine who has and I'm very sensitive to this. He has a very pronounced stutter, and it's his signature now. Not like Mel Tillis, but I mean it's his signature. He says, "Oh, I own it." If you, for example, if you ever have a limp, if for some reason something happens to you where you're going to walk with a limp, you get the flashiest cane anybody's ever seen and own it. It's yours now. Now that's your trademark. Own it. Whatever it is, whatever your thing is, whether who is it? The eye patch. What's his name? The Hathaway man eye patch. Whatever is Gorbachev with the port wine stain. That's his. Whatever it is, moles and all these. Whatever your thing is, you own it. That's yours. That's your thing. That's your. Bobby Kennedy has more fans who are Republican, and I don't want to say this again, libertarian, than he could ever imagine. Absolutely. He has more. Why? His family defense or whatever, vaccines and autism, and we're not going to go into that, but that's who he is. That's who he is. He is more people have respected him for that than you will ever know. So that's that. Next, in what was one of the most brilliant moves ever on the part of Elon Musk, because I don't trust Elon Musk at all, but having NPR or giving or mandating the NPR have these state-sponsored, whatever, was so good, so brilliant, it was like nobody's ever seen. Brilliant. 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 You understand this? Brilliant. And I don't know if you even recognize how good he is. So let me say that. Now let me also tell you that while I do this, we are so pleased and honored to be sponsored by the following. Number one is our great friends at MyPillow.com. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, right now has, and you've got to go to the site, but do me a favor, only use the promo code Lionel. If you see it anywhere else, never use their promo code. Use mine. Why? To support us. To support this thing of ours. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. That's number one. Number two, if I have to explain the need that you've got to have for thinking about very seriously, in addition to all of your other concerns, emergency food, you are a lost cause. You just don't. Remember the supply chain breakdowns? Whatever happened to that? Remember ransomware? Whatever happened to that? These stories, they come and they go, and they don't go away. There is going to be, listen to what I'm saying. This is not a maybe. There is going to be serious calamity from every conceivable area you can imagine. And one of them will be, of course, regarding food. And you have to have emergency food. 90 days per person in your household. Not some banana chips in the cupboard. Not some pickles or stewed tomatoes. Not a fishing rod. That's my favorite. No. Not jerky. Not some soup. 90 days. So that you can handle when everything is shut down. Stores, supply chain, and you don't know what to do. You will thank your lucky stars. And listen to me, preparewithlionel.com is where you have to go. Preparewithlionel.com. Look at what they have. Save $200 on a 3-month, 90-day emergency food per person. Preparewithlionel.com. Next, EMPs. You get it. Electromagnetic pulses. How many people just don't know? What is that again? What? Huh. What is that? Is that like monkeypox? Worse. EMP Shield. All of these links are in our description. Do yourself a favor. Just spend 5 minutes. Read the site. Just look at our link. You'll see what I'm talking about. And then finally, your body and your health. Michael Greger. I love his stuff. Read him every day. And there was a wonderful piece he did the other day on why berries are so important. Why are blueberries so great? What's the thing with blueberries? It's the pigment. It's the color. It's what the berries and what plants do to fight off either the sun or insects or whatever it is. That's the thing. To be able to have resveratrol, people talked about, in grapes. Well, quercetin is one of these flavonoids, these antioxidants that are a part of pigments. And that's in Z-Stack. Z-Stack. Look at the link. It's so perfect. Quercetin, flavonoids, vitamin C, ascorbic acid, Linus Pauling, I think you know about that. Vitamin D3, the miracle hormone, zinc in this. So there you have it. So I want you to do me a favor. Think more. Think more. Think more. Think more. Think more. Just think. Don't respond. Don't react. Think. Read. Research. Focus. Come up with your own questions. Stop reacting. Listen to me and take this without any disrespect. You don't know anything. I tell myself all the time, I don't know anything. Learn, research, ask, okay? You understand this? It makes complete and total sense. Now, let me tell you something. If I had told you a while back, if I had told you that there would be this war on children, you would have said, well, yeah. I said, no. Did you ever in your mind ever see this? This is Lynn's Warriors. This is her Twitter handle. Did you ever think you would see anything like this? Ever? I never did. I mean, I knew things were bad, but I never knew I saw this. Never. Never. And Mrs. L has a YouTube channel which is so great. And we need your help, and we need your numbers, and we want to build this up. And there's the link. It's Lynn's Warriors on YouTube. Do me a favor. I ask you from the bottom of my heart, support her, lynswarriors.org. The effort is, you have no idea, it's 24 hours a day. And finally, I have for you the most wonderful, oh my God. This is my other YouTube channel. It's called Lionel Legal. Lionel Legal. May I read for you the name of some of my topics on Lionel Legal? May I do that? You don't mind, do you? You don't mind if I do that? Because they're really good. And this, it gets so many people so upset. They get so upset because they say, why are you saying this? Because I'm thinking. Because I think. Because I use my head. That's all. Listen to this one. Listen to these titles. The First Amendment and Elon Musk's state-affiliated media NPR label. I go through that and explain the difference. This is at Lionel Legal. Next, there's no way in hell Trump wants to be reelected unless he's gone insane. I go into a little bit more detail. That's there as well. People get very upset with that one. But it's true. This is at Lionel Legal. Here's one. No kidding, Dershowitz. Trump will be convicted, especially in New York, with a New York judge and a New York whatever. I mean, please, of course. Next, more insane theories on how Trump actually benefits from being indicted, followed by stay vigilant, shadow government operatives, the country that you have loved, and it goes on. It's really, I don't want to say it's not for everybody, but it's pretty brutal. That's at Lionel Legal. Go right now. I want to see everybody here sign up. Okay, my friends, have a great and glorious day. Happy Good Friday. We got Easter this week. I hope everybody has and to our Jewish friends, happy Pesach, Passover to you and yours. Enjoy it. It's time to get pastels out, Easter bunnies here, whatever the hell that means. Enjoy the time. Cadbury egg times, if you're so inclined. There's some kind of, I remember years ago, the only thing I liked were those Cadbury eggs. You notice that? Because I was never a candy person, but those things like, hey, those are good. All right, friends, have a great and glorious day. See you tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern time. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Ta-ta.